in 1865 and the Emancipation Proclamation that Lincoln decreed in 1863, which freed the previously enslaved people of the United States, became the law of the land. However, the news was slow to reach all areas of the country, and the actual fact of emancipation is much more complex than a law being enacted. This resource goes through and shows you all the different ways that people remained enslaved after the end of the Civil War. And the first story that we are reading this semester is called Dayward. And in it, a young boy and his sister are free, but they still must run for their lives from their plantation. And then the question is, what are they running to? They find a relative in New Orleans, but just gaining freedom does not mean that someone will prosper. The country that fought a war over slavery remained divided and punishingly racist. The other two prose texts we will read interrogate the very idea of race. Modern biologists have pointed out that race is a social construct. Humans are the same biologically. Variations in skin tone and cultures are socially enforced conditions. Iola Leroy and Desiree's Baby are both stories that question the idea of race by demonstrating how ambiguous the notion of blackness was. Frances Watkins Harper, a black writer in the late 19th century, set her novel Iola Leroy in the antebellum era. The antebellum era refers to the era when slavery was still legal in the United States. The first chapter describes a secret language used by enslaved people to spread news of advancing Union troops without angering their white owners. Kate Chopin, a white writer, also published Desiree's Baby in the 1890s, but set the story in the antebellum era. In this story, the race of a person is incredibly important because the laws of Louisiana meant that anyone with a drop of African ancestry could be enslaved, and so could their children. In the poem We Wear the Mask, Paul Laurence Dunbar exemplifies W.E.B. Du Bois' notion of double consciousness, that black people specifically have two selves, an external self and an internal self. This resource here gives more information about double consciousness. And as you're reading through our text for Unit 1, I'd like you to think about how each text explores this idea of double consciousness. Please reach out to me via email if you have any questions, and I look forward to reading your discussion posts.